And they say that sharpen your mind by reading books,
Yeah.
by you decided to sharpen yours by writing them. It is it is going to be an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So before you tell us about the book,
Mm-hmm.
kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
My name is Boniface Gachora. I'm an engineer by training,
Yeah.
but by interest and being affected by it on a daily basis, I gained a lot of interest in politics. And having been a leader myself in school, in my school days since primary school and high school, and finally at campus, it has really dawned on me that it's a field that I want to explore and have a say in it. And that's basically why I'm here.
Yeah. Without going so much into it, what do you make of the current political landscape in our country?
Uh, the political landscape in this country is, I will say, is not Kenyan. It's not African. It's not about the Kenyan people. It's led by some of us, but is it about us? We solely create governments, as the Americans say, to facilitate the pursuit of liberty and happiness.
Yeah.
But is it that in Africa for the people? No, it is not. We have a government by the people, but is it for the people? I don't think so. So the political landscape, I think it's foreign to us. Most of us, it's foreign to us and does not work for us. That's what I would say about it.
And then I would think that this is a point of view that you extrapolate to the whole of the continent.
I have exceptions. I have exceptions in this country.
Which are some of the
There are
exceptions?
countries I regard to serve that governments in those countries serve the purpose they were intended to. Yeah.
It would be ill of you not to give us some examples. Probably we might need a big brother to borrow a leaf from.
I think there is a sense in which the service of the government of Lesotho serve the interest of the people. There's a sense in which the service by the government of Rwanda, in my opinion, serve the interest of the people of Rwanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I will not generalize the context to put it overall in the African continent. It's more of specific countries having specific problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would not extend that to our neighbors in Tanzania?
I will say Nyerere tried to bring some sanity, but in between Nyerere and the current government, there are some fracas that happened and that was in that country. But it's a decent country, and the leaders and the quality of leadership we have in Tanzania is good and posed to become better as we can see at the moment.
Yeah. Probably somebody would be interested in knowing why struggle to go through all those books and then decide to be swayed by a trend of the unruly.
And in my writing, I'm inspired by the speeches and writings of Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame, in his own wisdom, was quick to identify the problem that Africa has and forecast the problem that Africa will have in the future, owing to the fact that colonization had happened, and he, having been the first African president to liberate his country, Ghana, in 1957 from the British, was quick to see that these people have not really gone because they were trying to intimidate and control him when he was in power. And looking at the continent in general, and there's not much good to write about. We can write about the wildlife of Kenya, the savannah,
the Pearl of Africa,
the Sahara, the Great Lakes. We can write good about Africa, but what can be written about this continent is more of bad, not good. Unfortunately so.
More of bad. Where is the bad? Because if you ask anybody, actually, you would see the bad, but it will depend with what class of people are you asking.
Yeah, rightly so. But when you look at the pyramid, I tend to look at popular mindsets and popular problems. When you look at the pyramid, the people at the top are the least, and they tend to rule over and bring their policies over others. And when I look and listen to those of people at the bottom, those people at the bottom of the pyramid who are the make up the majority of the population, they don't have much good to say about the governance and the structures that the African continent is in at the moment.
Probably you've not come out clear to tell us what you write about.
Okay, I started a journey of writing in 2021. I started writing articles. I didn't think I would ever write a book, but the research I conducted and books that I've read have pushed me towards writing a book. It's called The Better Master, an evolution of Africa's inferiority complex. That's the title of the book. And basically, I dwell much on history to base my argument, looking at how Africa was before interference. How did people live? How did people relate with each other? How did this continent we call the most diverse with a lot of ethnic groups and people from different language, people speaking in different languages, how did they manage to live together in those times? And I realized the African people have an identity to themselves. By just identifying, and by African, I don't mean that we all have to be of black skin, because there are those of us who have browner skins than others. Those of us
who they don't consider themselves African.
Yeah, some of us who came from different continents and chose by ourselves to identify as Africans. One thing that really stood out for me in the past, African people were very, very open-minded. We were very open-minded to ideas and to people. We were welcoming to people from different continents. And this stands out to me because looking at Africa at the moment, the main source of our problem is not within ourselves. It's things that we've taken up. We decided to take up the bad and the good from the foreigners, and mostly we took the bad. That's the unfortunate bit about our continent at the moment. Mm-hmm.
Why the better master? Because
the better
master and Africa with slavery with slave trade, I don't think a master the connotation master would sit well with a number of people.
My argument is on the book, it's not really an argument, it's just ideas I'm putting across. And why the better master, looking at Africa as it existed before, the first interference and how the mode it came in was slavery, and through transatlantic trade, which came later after the Arab trade that was conducted since the 9th, I think 10th century. Africans have been confined to think they are people of an inferior race. Not race really, but people of an inferior status in the world. And they've been confined to think we live to serve a master. And I agree that people argue that slavery existed even before the interference of the white man. I agree, yeah. But you look at the context in which slavery was practiced, and communities used to fight wars and take captives and make them slaves. But the inhumane nature in which the white man imposed slavery on Africans, that's what stands out to me. And this mindset of being a slave and being inferior has evolved in the African minds, such that even to date in the 21st century, we still depend on other people for our own to shape our own destiny. That's why I say the better master. We are confined to always welcome a master that
who's better
serves
than the
our
previous one.
Yes, exactly. That's why you see when after slavery, we thought colonialism is a better thing. let them come. But after some time we said, no, this one does not work. Let's put in our leaders there who are there serving the interest of the master. And as things go, you can see the revelation that comes even with specific leaders taking stands. You stand with these people from this side and not really focusing forward. Yeah.
Very interesting. But when I hear that title, I would seem that the book is more about how we could become better masters of ourselves.
It has that bit. Yeah. That's the last chapter of the book. It's called Looking Forward.
Looking forward. Okay, interesting. How has the journey been? And what are some of the interesting pieces of literature that you perused through to come up with this book?
One specific I want to mention is the book Neocolonialism by Kwame Nkrumah. I've read that book twice, and
every time you go to it, you find
something different. Yeah. And whenever I write it, I have a lot of it cannot even be read by another person because I've written all over it. And Kwame is so specific. He is so specific. He does not go around the corner telling Africans what the problem is. He tells Africans, you are not involved in farming and irrigation because you needed to buy using the foreign currency outside. And he specifically mentions the impact that the American dollar had then in 1960s. And he says that for Africa to go forward, we have to have one currency. For Africa to go forward, we have to have one constitution that unites us. So when I look at countries pretending, insinuating to relate to the bigger powers by themselves, it really sounds funny to me because your economy is not even half of a state's, a quarter of a state's economy in the US. But you want to sign pacts. For what? You're just a slave serving the master, but you don't want to accept because you feel being closer to the deputy Jesus, I might be Peter, I might be Judas, I might stand out. That's the problem we have with African leaders at the moment.
For us admitting that we are puppets or we have superior masters, is it a good thing or would it be a bad thing?
It's a very good thing. Because one thing I've realized, whenever you want to move forward, even by yourself, you have to accept things that you're uncomfortable with. You have to come to a realization that to make a step forward, I have to accept the current stand that I'm at. And for us, accepting that we are puppets does not necessarily mean that we have had bad pasts. We have had colonialism. But did we stand against those countries? We even joined pact with them and called ourselves Commonwealth. And the wealth is not common.
Interesting way to put it.
So I think by admitting that we are puppets and we are not led by our own policies and motives, it's a good thing. It's a good start.
Within your writings, where do you think that person is going to come from?
I come from the school of thought that believes the good days of Africa are in the future, not in the past. And the future might not. I might not be. The
I
future
might be looking at the future.
Yeah, you might be looking at the future, yes, but the future might not find me. But I'm looking at an Africa that serves the interest of my kids. What type of school will my kid go to? Without necessarily having me spend a lot of millions of shillings to take them to. What kind of hospital will my daughter go to?
And actually spend those millions, but take them to a foreign system of education.
Yes, exactly. That's what I look at. And looking at the future of Africa, I tend to look at it this way. It's not leaders that are going to change this country. If it's going to be changed by leaders, they're going to be inspired by the people. Pushed. It's not just inspired. They have to be pushed. And I want an Africa that serves the interest of the people. So that when I go to that Mama Mboga, a Boda Boda guy, I ask them, what do you think about the government? The president. They tell me, yeah, they're serving my interests. And by this, for Africa to attain it, I think we need to come to a consensus And there was a great step that was undertaken in the 70s by the leaders that were there in the East African community. They signed agreements and pacts that were looking forward, but the implementation bit is what still stands unfinished until date. And I think countries within Africa must build consensus in terms of trading. We said the African Free Trade Area, but is it free? We are very poor at implementing deals, but conferences and signing pacts, we're very good.
We're very good at. But exactly what would it take? Because I know their interests, but what would it really take for us to get there?
I think it's
even let's not extrapolate to the African continent, but
so
from the East African point of view. Because even when Yoweri Museveni was here just the other day, he spoke about it. Everybody likes or loves speaking about it.
Yeah.
But everybody is afraid, and my co-host Bonnie says that no leader from any country would like to relinquish that feeling of being superior to being the supreme leader of a particular country.
Yeah.
Then if there would be that sort of egocentrism, then what are we going to do to get over that?
I think first of all, people have to be educated about the importance of both social and economic integration, because people have the pride of I have the pride of being Kenyan, but what great can I achieve by being East African? People need to come to terms and understand, and that's where education comes into play. Does that kid in class 5 or grade 7 understand that they live in a world in a region of East African countries that trade within each other and have relations to each other? It will take a lot of years. That's why I'm telling you, it might not find us here, but people need to be educated about the necessity of integration and being together. It will take a lot, because education in this country has been altered over the years, and it's been confined to the systems of the West and those who colonized us. It is the starting point. Educate people on their rights, first of all, their freedoms. Educate them on the needs of social and economic integration. That's the starting point. And when people are aware of what they stand for and what they can achieve, they will guide and take steps towards achieving it. Yeah.
How many chapters are in the book, and how many? Which ones stand out for you?
There are 6 chapters.
Okay.
There's first one is called Pre-Interference Africa. The second one is called Second one is slavery and servitude. Third one is colonization. Fourth one is neocolonization. Fourth one is debt and modern slavery. And the last one is looking forward. The sixth one.
Which one struck you the most?
I think
which one
the
took
one
you out?
Struck me the most is Pre-Interference Africa. I didn't study history in high school because I chose to do geography, but I missed a lot because I really have had this urge to research and want to know. And the interesting bit about it, it's very hard to find that information about Pre-Interference Africa. It's not there. They don't want you to know that you are organized before they organized you. And it really stands out for me because I look at the Mali Empire led by Mansa Musa. And this guy will
one of the richest men.
One of the richest men.
The richest man ever to live.
Ever to live.
Yeah.
And he used to trek thousands of miles to Mecca, doing trade with thousands of slaves, thousands of his men, thousands of warriors. It's really interesting that what is painted of the African people does not seem to be the true looking into history. And that chapter really is interesting when you look at the empires such as the Kitara, later the Bunyoro Kitara of Uganda. You look at other empires in other parts of Africa, and it's quite interesting. Yeah.
When somebody reads this book, what do you want them to take away from it?
I really don't.
Do you want them to feel incited?
I've limited myself to inciting someone to make a decision. But once someone reads that book, I really want them to be informed. When you're informed about your history, and it's Ali Mazrui who said, when you're not aware of your past and you're not aware of your present, you're unable to make a great future for yourself. And when people read about the history of Africa, I want them to understand that Africans can be organized. However, if it incites you to want to organize the society, well and good, but I want you to be informed that even before the missionaries came, Africans used to worship. Even before the explorers came, Africans used to trade. And the most people presently do not understand that trade just changed in forms. We just changed and started doing trade via currencies. But in those days, people used to trade. Even before the Mzungus came in Kenya, the Akamba women used to trade with the Arabs in the coast and bring us goodies in Karatina. I want people to understand that a society can be organized. Even without the structured constitution, even without a structured leadership, it's possible to have a society that is well governed. That's the greatest take I'll want people to take from that book. And especially for the youth, in the last chapter, I've tried to incite them to look to a future that is great for us and think beyond now. Let's think beyond me finding a job and getting salary.
Getting some quick money.
And getting pension after I retire. Let's look beyond that. Let's look for children and the children of our children that come later after us, and how well will they thank us for our contributions. It might be small, it might be that noise you're saying we make noise, but it will make an impact. If Dedan Kimathi did not go to the forest, if he did not incite some of the people who are guards to give them guns and give them steel, they will not have gained independence. Yeah.
But there is so much, when you compare Dedan Kimathi as a youth then, there seemed to be so much resolute. There seemed to be a reason why it was important to do what he wanted to do, what he wanted to do at that particular time, and the people that he was with. When I look at the youth of these days, or when I look at ourselves, we are so scattered. We are, I think we are not a type who make resolutions. Because even when you look at our personal lives, most of us, we want to get rich. But have we resolved to do exactly that? Then looking at that, how are we able now to extrapolate that to saying that we resolve that we want a country that is going to look like this? So borrowing from that, then how do we attain what you're talking about?
I think ultimately it has to be revolution. People have to come out and state it as it is and say we are tired, enough is enough. And the youth, because we are going to live, most of us are going to live more than most of the elderly. And we are basically going to outlive them. Yeah, we're going to outlive them. But they're going to model us to be like them. Actually, not they are modeling us to be like them. That's what I want us to, and by us standing out and saying we want things this way, does not say we are disrespectful, because that's what most people interpret it as. I think we're just being resolute and saying how we want things to be run, because this is our country. We are the most, according to the last census, the youth are the most in the population census. And it will ultimately take revolutions. People have to come out and say no. It must not be revolutions. A leader of goodwill and who is willing to make systems work might come for us. That's very difficult to happen. You know the quality of people we have in leadership now in this country. But ultimately, the people by themselves must make a decision. Yeah.
What would be your closing remark? Even before the closing remark, when is the book coming out? Where can people get it?
Okay. The book will be launched in November, but it will be out, let's say, in early August. The book will be out, and the book can be purchased through me. Will distribute them to bookshops around. Yeah, and it will be easily accessible in both print and PDF
Digital
forms.
copy.
Yeah.
Your closing remark.
My closing remark is to the youth. Let us step out, and become the masters of our destiny. It might be a small contribution that you make. You might just go on TikTok and make a video, but ultimately it is going to make an impact in people's lives. So let's come out and make our contributions. Let's stop being slaves to the outside world. Let's make an impact and a contribution to be the masters of our own destiny. Thank you.
All right, you've heard it. Do look out for the books once they are in bookstores. Thank you.